Hello and welcome back to the Ants Subang YouTube channel.
As the title suggests, in my opinion, ants should not be judged on the basis of size for price, and quantity for quality.
Each ant has its own characteristics. Before getting any ants, you should fully understand the characteristics of the ants.
For example, after acquiring a colony of Pheidole, you find that the ants are very small and should use the corresponding nest and feed. In general, the feeding methods of all ants are relatively similar. I believe for first-time keepers, the choice of ant species has a certain relationship with what they think ants are. For example, people who think ants are killing machines who battle every day in the wild are best suited for raising fire ants, while people who love watching ants en masse in farming and marching are suitable for raising Pheidole ants. Therefore, the choice of ant species to keep really depends on what you see in the ants themselves.
There are no such things as boring ant species.
Hence, in this video, I will be talking about the Pheidole ant, in particular the tiniest species out there. I have always felt that this small species is underrated as compared to its cousin from the same family, the Carebara species.
Don't underestimate these tiny-looking ants, they are one of the most successful species on the planet.
Although Pheidole is only one of the hundreds of genera of ants, they account for 1/10 of all ant species. They are certainly not an unexciting species, as many people claim they are. I will show you how magnificent they look close up, and they can be the best tiny ant species to have in your ant collection. This is not a tutorial video on how to keep them, but more geared towards the introduction or changing your perception of this less popular species among the anting community due to its size.
First of all, these are very tiny ants from the Pheidole genus.
The ants of the genus Pheidole have little difference in habits and have a wide range of food diets.
They are divided into major ants and worker ants, and they reproduce quickly.
These tiny Pheidole variant ants are the most difficult to identify because there are so many species of them. One main characteristic of this genus is that they are able to produce big-headed ants.
They are fairly common, and if you go for a walk in any urban area, you are bound to step on them.
Big-headed ants are not only numerous, but they can also be found almost anywhere on the planet, from tropical rainforests to familiar rural cities.
This tiny species flourishes in rough places where other species of ant cannot.
They are distributed over a wide area of Southeast Asia, but it seems that several species that are difficult to distinguish by appearance are mixed among them. Pheidole ants build their nests on the ground, but the entrances and chambers inside the nests are too small for any larger ants to crawl in. Among the variety of mixed Pheidole species, there is the common Pheidole parva. They are considered native in this area, but I understand they are distributed globally, and it is difficult to know how the species are distributed. They fly all year round and you will encounter them every time after a rain shower.
This is the most prosperous family in the ant world and one of the most highly evolved subfamilies. The big-headed Pheidole ant also reproduces rapidly and is prone to population explosions. The genus is one of the most successful groups in the ant family. If you come across a group of small, unknown ants and find a few of them with exaggerated, big heads, then this is the Pheidole. The major ants of the big-headed ant have a disproportionately large head, which has earned them the reputation of being big-headed. In addition to the large-headed ant, there are a few other ants that also have giant-headed major ants, but their number and frequency are far less. The role of the big-headed worker may change with age, and the younger big-headed workers feed on liquid food until their abdomens are distended.
These ants with swollen gasters, called repletes, serve as living food storage vessels. As they grow older, they will venture out of the nest and be nest guardians. Their heads are full of muscles, which gives them a strong bite ability. The powerful offensive and defensive capabilities of the major ants, coupled with their huge colony, may be the secret to the prosperity of the big-headed ant family. Pheidole, the big-headed ants, is a diverse genus of ants with a clear division in colonies between major and minor workers. The minor workers are usually the most active and most likely to be involved in foraging, with the major workers often specializing in carrying larger or harder food items. They are mostly polygynous, so they can have multiple queens, but you will have to take that with a pinch of salt. Although they are polygynous, the queens will fight and kill each other in certain circumstances. So if the colony is large and mature enough, the queens won't see each other very often, and you could have multiple queens. So you could start a colony with one queen and add more queens as the colony grows. Pheidole is omnivorous and generally will eat anything, but be careful that if food is not wasted, clean up leftover food to avoid attracting mold or fungus outbreaks, as they will not survive from them in captivity.
Second, Pheidole likes to eat sweets and should also be supplemented with protein diets on a regular basis. Otherwise, the number of eggs laid by the ants will decrease and the colony will easily die off. Finally, in order to ensure the overall nutrition of the Pheidole ants, they can be given grains. The thing about feeding grain is that the humidity and temperature in the nest should not be too low.
They should generally be maintained at about 27 to 28 degrees and semi-dry, otherwise the grains are prone to mold.
These tiny big-headed ants are more selective feeders.
They should alternately be given a variety of proteins. If one food is fed for a long time, the ants will not eat a lot.
In the eyes of ordinary people, Pheidole are just like any small ant, but they are actually the most successful type of ant genus.
In fact, they are highly social, they have their own plans every day, and each ant has its own work. They reproduce quickly, are inexpensive, and are active, making them ideal for having in your ant collection.
To appreciate this species more, I recommend having a magnifying glass for your daily observation.
Filming them takes a lot of patience, as having to focus on such small ants provides a whole new set of filming challenges. Sometimes you have to sacrifice video quality for visuals with what I have to film. I hope I have changed some perceptions about this tiny ant species and more appreciation will be given towards them.
That is all for now. Thank you for watching.